So once upon a time, a great pastry chef, one of the best in the country, he was Grant Achatz pastry chef at Alinea in Chicago, and then Wylie Dufresne's pastry chef at WD-50, and the next I hear he's opening up a taqueria in the West Village, and I'm like, what? Like, connect the dots for me here, folks. Well, 3 restaurants later, Taqueria is killing it. We're standing in Cocina, amazing restaurant on First Avenue, and around the corner on St. Mark's, El Pastor. Chef in question is Alex Stupak. He is amazing. We're going to find out why he did what he did and how this American pastry chef fell in love with Mexican food, is kind of interpreting it his own way. 3 spots in New York, all great. That's today's show. I'm Mike Colameco, industry insider. Been in the business my whole life, and I know what it takes to succeed. Each week we'll take you into real kitchens, filmed in real time. Backstage passes to a day in the life of chefs, restaurateurs, and their teams. The competition's fierce. Careers, life savings, and reputations hang in the balance. These are my people, and this is their passion. And that's what's next on Mike Colameco's Real Food. Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
Lou's Naturals family of brands offers all-natural, minimally processed meats, free of antibiotics, hormones, and nitrates. From our family to yours.
Imported from Italy, Anna pasta is made from 100% Italian durum wheat semolina and pure spring water, slowly dried to cook al dente. Recipes online at cento.com.
Guacamole is one of those things that it's honestly not that big of a deal in Mexico, but it's a real big deal to us in America. I think when we say we're going to go out to eat Mexican food, it's an excuse to drink margaritas and eat some guacamole. That used to upset me. I used to say, well, I'm never going to serve it again. Now we kind of use it as a portal. It's a way to draw people in and honestly get them to try some other flavors.
Alex Stupak, you're one of the most avant-garde pastry chefs in the country. You were at Alinea, which is like the, one of the great greats, and then Wylie, R.I.P., but one of the great greats as well in terms of a restaurant. And then next thing I hear, you're opening up a taqueria in my old neighborhood, the West Village. I'm like, what? Talk to me.
Well, that reaction that you had, why would you do that? That was a big part of it. So when you cut into an avocado, you can see there's always 2 colors, right? There's that sort of olivey yellow, and then there's that bright, vibrant green. So our rule is that if you can't still see those 2 colors when you're done mixing it, it's overmixed. Oh. You already went too far. I worked for Grant Achatz, and I worked for Wylie Dufresne, and I sought those people out. They were my heroes. It was at that time when people were going, well, who are these guys, and why are they pouring liquid nitrogen over everything, and who do they think they are, and it's not even really food. And
right.
that counterculture about it is what attracted me to it. I wanted to be a part of that. I thought it was genius. We're putting this over a roasting rack, something I think is pretty common, and rather than mashing it, we're just going to push it through.
I think I'm guilty of over-mixing right off the bat, that's for damn sure. And you've got these nice, uniform, big chunks.
Yeah, so in this restaurant, there's no mashing. That's what we do. That 1/4-inch screen is a 1/4-inch screen.
Perfect.
My wife grew up with really great Mexican food. She's from Los Angeles. I didn't grow up with any one particular great cuisine. I didn't. I'm part Italian, I'm part Russian, I'm part French, I'm part this, I'm part that. And I grew up with general, just sort of American food, whatever that is.
Right.
Right. So I was cooking a lot of Mexican food at home, and it kind of just became my default flavor profile. A little bit of just barely cut cilantro, a little bit of pickled jalapeno.
So you got some acid in there too.
Yep. Secondary acid from the vinegar, and a little bit of minced white onion.
Rinsed or just raw?
We rinse it under cold water, and that's more or less what makes up our guac. So when we mix it, we're just kind of gentle with it. So guacamole in this restaurant keeps the lights on. It's what everyone comes to get. Right. They order it without even looking at the menu.
Right, it's like bread for service. Everybody wants that to begin.
Absolutely. So as you get a little bit older and you go, well, I want my own restaurant now, what is it going to be? The idea that I had fallen in love with these flavors, wedded with the idea that it would have been the most provocative and thing you could do, it seemed to make sense. When we opened this restaurant, we started with this salsa de árbol. It's kind of like our favorite hot sauce. And something personal, we made a smoked cashew salsa. I learned about smoking cashews from Wylie Dufresne at WD-50, and I wanted to bring something personal from my past. And then the customers just wanted more and more and more. And the one that comes with a warning label, salsa habanera. It's just one of those ones.
You can smell it.
I swear to God, someone should make a women's perfume that smells like that. It's just one of the sexiest aromas ever. It's like guava and passion fruit.
It really is. And
Just-
habanero.
Yeah, it just smells so alluring, and you taste it, and it's the most delicious thing you've ever had for 2 seconds, and it just blows your head off.
Yeah, it did that to me.
And then, of course, some tortilla chips. Our rule is that when we make a fresh corn tortilla,
And you're making it every day at...
we're making it every day,
At the store.
at our bar, Al Pastor, and we only serve them when they're still hot.
Right.
And they still have the original heat from cooking.
Right.
So we have a lot of cold tortillas left over at the end of the day, so what do you do with them? Luckily, Americans' favorite flavor is crunchy, so we have an endless need for chips.
I'm going for the smoked cashew.
I'm gonna join you on that.
That's crazy good.
We began with a taqueria because I thought, well, what's easier than tacos? That's the easiest place to begin. I realized how little I knew about the whole thing the day I opened. Tacos are not easy.
I was about to say.
Tacos are very complicated. They're very difficult to get right. And on top of that, even if you're getting them right, they're very personal. You have a place called Taqueria. People come here for one thing,
Period.
tacos.
And this was your first, out of the gate, this was your first go
This is my first
in
restaurant.
the city.
Yeah. So people come here for tacos, and the more we seem to muster on the menu, the happier they are. So fried fish. There's this story that there were Japanese fishermen off the coast of Baja that brought tempura. I don't know if that story is true or not. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. I just think this is one of the most compelling and gratifying tacos you can make. So you got to start with the fish. These are some goujonettes of dogfish, which is basically a small school shark.
It's shark.
Yeah, I think they're incredibly delicious.
Biggest fish for fish and chips, I think, in England.
Yeah, I love it. We have a little bit of rice flour, and we have a pretty straightforward beer batter. You can see it's a little bit lumpy because we're careful not to overmix it. We're just going to dredge it. We're going to drop those in. I'm going to give them a turn, and we're going to take them to the fryer.
Let's go. We'll follow you.
So we're just going to fry that till it's nice and crisp. I love the texture of it. I think it has a density that holds up
It's a muscular
against the
swimming
batter.
fish, yeah.
So you can see GB&D, golden brown and delicious.
There you go.
Anything coming out of the fryer needs a healthy pinch of salt.
Yep.
So you can see it's starting to become opaque, and we'll turn it a couple times. I'm a big fan of mayonnaise, so I'm going to put a proper tablespoon. A little bit of raw cabbage, just really finely shredded.
Got that great crunch, great texture, way better
Totally.
than lettuce.
This is a relish made out of jalapenos. I'm from New England, so fish is fried and served with tartar sauce. So I didn't quite make tartar sauce, but I'm not far off.
You're not far off. We got mayonnaise in this
Yeah,
now.
you have that jar of Hellman's and that jar of Heinz, and you mix it. A little bit of radish. Plop our fish on there. A little bit of onion, cilantro. A lot of people are afraid of raw onion. You got to use white onion, not yellow onion. White onion is a lot more mild. So these are our fish tacos.
Let's do this.
We have to eat one of these.
We have to eat one of these, man. What's not to like? It's like perfect. My only trouble with this food is I eat it so fast. Like I'll sit
You
down.
have to.
I'll make fish tacos with my wife in the summertime, a couple times a week, and it's like the table. It's like silent for 8 minutes, and we're done.
In this day and age, you're serving tacos in a restaurant, and you have all these people Instagramming them. And I have no problem with Instagram, but I'm like, eat taco.
Yeah, thank you. While it's warm, we just sweated our ass off to make it. Yeah.
Lee, can I please have porcinis on your bottom shelf?
Some raw veggies and fruits marinated in a spicy salsa flavored with apricot pits, a little bit of lime and a little bit of chili powder. I really like crunchy, spicy, fresh things with tequila.
When did you open this?
We opened Cocina 11 months after we opened Taqueria, so we're 3 years old here.
This is a flan made from an epazote cream. It's in the center of a plate and looks like the main event, but is actually a condiment for English peas.
When I opened Taqueria, I got a lot of flack. Everyone called it a step down from what I was doing.
Oh.
And again, it was just a testament to me of how misunderstood the cuisine is. It's like, oh, well, you were doing this great exalted thing and now you're doing this lowly thing. And I've always thought that is really BS.
That chile is red and smoky and comes from Oaxaca distinctively.
And the oil?
Olive oil
That is EVO.
and black salt.
So the biggest middle finger I could extend was a second restaurant at breakneck speed.
Introduce your man here.
Okay, so we have Chef Aaron, and he's gonna plate up a dish of lamb tartare for us.
Beautiful.
All this time later, I'll tell you that is not a good reason to open a restaurant. There
Or
needs-
do anything for that
No,
matter.
that is a very bad reason to open a restaurant. But I have no regrets. I'm glad I did it. The idea behind this dish is really simple. We took lamb barbacoa. It's lamb that's slowly cooked with avocado leaf, which sort of perfumes it with this really strong fennel anise flavor. And we just reversed it. We tried to make it into a cold raw dish. New York City is sort of like a tartare town.
Yeah.
We eat tartare here, we order tartare here, and I love taking that fact as an opportunity to introduce these flavors to people. At Cocina, the only rule is that there really are no rules. And the goal is to, if you've been to Oaxaca, and if you had the barbacoa there, it should bring you right back to that.
I've never been to Oaxaca. I've never had the barbacoa, but that is ridiculously good.
Thank you.
In spite of the fact that I have no reference point for it. It's delicious.
Chef Aaron, if you can fill 2 trout flautas, or just start thinking about it.
Yes, chef.
What you're doing here is full on. I mean, this is a la carte, swinging for the fences, tasting menu, chef's table if you want to sign up for that, and bloody serious.
I try to draw on my background. I've worked in these other kitchens, and I feel proud that I've learned techniques that are not commonplace, and we do try to inject that back into it. So these are trout flautas. Flauta meaning flute. It's a whole class of tacos in Mexico. We took trout skin, poached it very, very gently, wrapped it around a cylindrical pipe, dehydrated it for 24 hours and fry it, and it puffs up like a chicharron. Here we serve a multi-course tasting menu. It's whatever we want to cook in the kitchen, and it's our most daring, our most avant-garde. So pickled artichoke, salsa de chapulinas, so grasshopper, pasilla oaxaqueño, roasted tomatillo, roasted garlic, guacamole, crispy garlic, parsley. For me, it's a hypothesis of, is New York City ready to dine on Mexican cuisine in that format and at that level? And if it works, I mean, it's working right now, and if it continues to work, maybe we have the opportunity to rethink the entire restaurant.
All right, we have the pastry coming out of Chef. What have we?
Okay, so this is Isabel. She's a pastry chef here.
Hey, Chef.
Hi, hello.
She handles all our desserts, and she also handles all of our masa. So, arguably one of the biggest jobs in the kitchen. So she's making arroz con leche. It's a very comforting dessert, so it was a fun challenge for us to try to turn it into a stunning presentation. So you have the rice pudding,
On the base.
and she just put a meringue shell over it. She's piping a foam made out of whipped milk.
Just that milk
Yeah. So
and a starch to stabilize it.
no starch
protein?
actually. No, it just does it on its own. A little bit of sugar.
Seriously,
Believe it
milk.
or not. Yeah.
Milk.
Yeah. Has to be skim milk. Can't have fat in it, but it'll whip up gorgeously. So if you have arroz con leche, that's what we have here. We have rice with milk. She's piping milk all the way around the perimeter. So the rice pudding itself, flavored with some cinnamon, a little bit of angelica stem, one of our favorite herbs, a little bit of lemongrass and some grapefruit zest. She just put a little bit of milk on top that was just thickened ever so slightly. Raw goat's milk, a little pinch of cinnamon.
Damn, that is beautiful.
So that's how we roll when we make arroz con leche here. Again, these are my favorite types of desserts. Ones that, one, are visually striking, but they don't lose the greatness or the hominess or the soulfulness of what it originally is.
So next into ceviche, Arctic char. This is a dressing, chervil and chamomile. Any ceviche we have here is heavy in lime juice. sliced cucumbers, and strawberries pickled with a chipotle called morita, which is intensely hot and smoky. Table 400.
This is chilaquiles. It's basically a dish that's created from leftover tortillas. It's a traditional breakfast dish. It's tossed with red chili salsa, fried egg, radish, lettuce, crema, cheese. Pretty tasty. Service, please.
Okay, so the idea here was really simple. Mole is never served with squid. If you go to Spain, getting squid served in its own ink or octopus served in its own ink is very common. So we just took this jet black sauce from Mexico and applied it to sort of a Spanish concept. So a couple other embellishments. This is a mayonnaise made with chorizo and chorizo fat.
Chorizo fat.
Yeah.
And that's just squid sacks cut julienne.
Yep, that's all it is. A little bit of this mole. We like to splatter some of it.
I'm going to taste the mole by itself.
Yep.
Mine. It is so good.
Thank you.
I have no idea what the hell is in there, but it's so good.
So we just got some small nugget potatoes from the market. Just roasted them really simply in oil, flavored them with some garlic and some smoky chilies. So again, you can see sort of the Spanish influence
That's
here.
That's what I'm looking at, honestly. Yeah.
Potatoes, mayonnaise, squid.
Yep.
The only thing that we've subbed out here is instead of squid ink, it's this mole.
Mole.
It's just mole. This simple saute, we julienne it. I love the way it curls up. And we just pile that
You know that's going to be delicious.
over the potatoes.
It's like 3 ingredients.
And those juices that drip off, make sure they get them on there. And
Bingo.
that's the dish.
Beautiful.
Squid with black mole.
Bingo. I like it. Fast pickup. You like that too. Boom, boom, boom. So good. I mean, what's not to love with it? So simple, so straightforward. There's mole.
Again, the complexity, there's 4 components in this dish, so it's deceptively simple. If you counted the list of ingredients in it that are building these flavors,
The mole.
there's just so much. The soul is in the sauce work. That's what defines the dish more than the protein.
All right, so it's early summer, 8 o'clock at night, sun's still up. Tompkins Square Park, we're 8th, St. Mark's Place and Avenue A. Yeah, we're gonna go inside. I guarantee this place is popping. This is the kind of place where the kitchen closes at 2 a.m. We're gonna hear a lot of that tonight. Kitchen closes at 2. They literally have to throw people out of here at 2 a.m. The later it gets, the busier it gets. Welcome to the East Village. Let's go in and see what kind of mayhem we have at 8. Still early. It's like the Blue Plate special.
That restaurant began with a very simple hypothesis that the best taco in the world, your favorite taco, chances are that that place only does that one thing well. This is a trompo. Trompo is a Spanish word for a spinning top. So call it a trompo because it's skinnier on the bottom and it widens out on top. So these are pork shoulder steaks. Each layer is seasoned with a chili salt and rubbed with an adobo, basically a thick puree of dried chilies that we make. The first thing you're gonna do is rub.
Get that goodness.
You want that grease covering every bit of it. A little bit more right there. So that's what al pastor is all about.
I can't imagine anything that's going to taste much better than that.
Salsa de arbol, raw salsa verde with a little bit of avocado in it. Salsa roja, a little bit of onion and cilantro.
Bingo.
I actually prefer a cold slice of pineapple. I actually like the temperature contrast. So that's our al pastor taco.
Got focus. Everybody is smiling. They're smiling. I'm smiling. Because they know.
So now you can understand when I said if there was one taco that I had to pick eating for the rest of my life, why it would be that one.
So bloody good, man. With a nice cold beer. This is like paradise.
I think we should order some micheladas. Do you like micheladas?
Yeah, but tell me about them. What's the origin of the michelada?
Okay, so a michelada at its most minimalist is just a glass of beer on ice with some lime juice and some salt. I love them so much we made a whole section on the menu dedicated to them.
So we make a chili salt rim here with paprika and red chilies. Then we're gonna add the tomato and beef broth. We add a little fresh lime juice. And then we use Dulce Vida, Reposado tequila. And I'm gonna top it off with Modelo Especial.
We definitely sell our fair share of margaritas here, but I wanted this place to be more about what the drinking culture is like in Mexico. So normally you sip some mezcal or some tequila, and then you go back and forth between that and beer all night long.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, it's a good life.
It's a good life indeed. Thank you.
To me, a taqueria is not so much about the hospitality business, and it's about the getting you your food as fast as humanly possible business. We said, well, if we're gonna build this one taco as idealistically as humanly possible, nixtamalize our own corn, grind it every morning, churn it into super fresh tortillas.
Every day fresh they're made.
Yes.
Every day they're held warm.
Yes.
So what am I looking at here? Talk to me. What do I have here?
You're looking at arguably the most important ingredient
In everything you do.
in Mexican cooking. You're looking at nixtamalized corn. When we think of corn in this country, we tend to think of corn on the cob.
Correct.
We think of sweet corn,
Right.
but that is not the corn that's covering most of the world.
Right.
This is that corn. This is field corn. It's very starchy, and it's not pleasant to eat in its natural state.
Right. And so you've done what to this now to get it to this state?
So this corn was boiled in water that had limestone. And what that does is it helps to dissolve the chaff. And then the most important thing that it does is it makes the corn more nutritious.
Spitting a little water.
You can see the corn is being drawn in and it's being ground by these volcanic rocks.
This is like stone.
Yeah, that is stone. So Maria has developed a proprietary recipe for this restaurant.
Does Maria know she's not allowed to leave? Has anyone told Maria that? Maria, you're not allowed to leave. You cannot leave. You must stay here. You can't go anywhere.
Well, we try our best to make it that she would never want to leave.
Something tells me.
So you can see what's happening. Chef Isabel is actually extruding the masa. It gets rolled and cut. It gets run through this machine, and it comes out on the other end.
Belt and another on the inside.
Right. I just love it. I love the specialization of it, and that we're focused on doing this one thing well.
And 7 days a week they're doing this?
Yes.
Every day, fresh?
Yeah, right now we're processing about 1,000 pounds of masa a day. And that's just to supply the 3 restaurants. How can you go back to a store-bought tortilla?
Honestly?
How can you go back to a cold tortilla that's been reheated ever after having this?
Not if you can have this.
So we're cooking pasta.
I see that, orchietta.
This just came from a really simple conversation that you can't walk 3 feet in New York City without tripping over a restaurant that serves orchiette with broccoli rabe and sausage. It's a
fact.
We've been cooking very traditional Mexican pasta dishes here in the past, but then we were like, we are chefs, we know how to cook, why don't we make our own pasta? And rather than an Italian sausage of any sort, we're using a Mexican sausage. We're using longaniza from the Yucatan, and I just love the flavor of it. What's provocative about it is that I love taking something that has nothing to do with Mexican cuisine and having it just be a vehicle or a substrate for these flavors.
Like a mashup.
Yeah.
Like a culinary mashup.
Chef Jason's throwing some mustard greens in there. He's
That's
gonna wilt
the green,
those
that's
with
the
it.
brassicas,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just put a little squeeze of lime on there.
Never hurts.
So super simple. We believe the greatness of pasta is pasta. We don't overly style this. A little bit of cotija cheese, and just to brighten it up, just some raw frilly mustard greens. That's the dish.
All these restaurants are sort of personal statements. You're a chef owner, so the food speaks to us. But here and at El Pastor especially, it's like you've curated this place. You know the artist who's doing this work for you. You know the sculpture. Talk a bit about that.
Look, as a restaurateur, if you don't want to hang out in your own place, you've done something terribly wrong. The way we built all the restaurants is that they're simply a collection of stuff that I like. I love Mexican food. I love the music that I love, and I love contemporary, provocative art.
You've traveled to Mexico. You've done a ton of homework on this. You've got a book coming out. By the time this airs, your book will be out. Talk about what Mexico's revealed to you in that way. Because there are these, it's different from here to there to there to there. And then even within the regions, there's total variation.
Right. Yeah, so like Italian cuisine, Mexican cuisine is complicated. We understand that there are regions. I think it's important that those regions have not muddled themselves. Mexican cuisine is personal. So being a white guy trying to learn about it, you have to be very careful. You have to watch your mouth. Because when you're talking about mole, you're talking about somebody's mother. I'll always argue that real Mexican food will always taste more Mexican in Mexico. The picture is important, but the frame is just as important. What I would like to see happen in New York City, because this is my home and this is my backyard, is I would just like to see us capture some diversity and basically have our own version of the genre.
So folks, this is what happens when one of America's great modernist pastry chefs decides to turn his gaze to Mexican food. I love what he's doing. Some of my favorite spots for this kind of food in the city are run by Alex. My Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
Lou's Naturals family of brands offers all-natural, minimally processed meats, free of antibiotics, hormones, and nitrates. From our family to yours.
Imported from Italy, Anapasta is made from 100% Italian durum wheat semolina and pure spring water, slowly dried to cook al dente. Recipes online at cento.com.